GM, it's Chris, and it's a beautiful September. I wanted to talk about the topic of the Pareto Principle and 80-20 for business owners and businesses in general, but also how it applies to life. Because I had this realization just the other day when I was talking with a someone, and they had been doing a thing for their business for like 18 months or something like that, I believe, with zero ROI. So they haven't made a return on their time. And talking about time, that is another issue because I don't think that a lot of people actually value their time, although that is like the most precious resource you have in your life. But regarding the 80-20 principle and finding the thread that will take you to your goals and how it applies to business, that's the topic of this video. And stay tuned because I think that you will discover some insights that can help you to actually pretty much work less while having more impact in your life and on your business. So, here's the thing. If you haven't really thought about what you're doing every day and the activities you do for your business that move the business forward towards your goal, then you might find yourself that you're just spreading yourself thin. You might be all over the place, or you might be focusing and putting all of your energy, all of your time on one thing, which actually will not move the needle for you. And that breaks my heart because I've done that as well in the past. And it's sometimes hard to kind of stay on the path towards your goal, right? For me, for example, my goal is very simple. I have an income target that I am shooting for with my business, whether that's helping with copywriting for local clients, or if it's online clients, coaches, or even just like local businesses. The the thread for me is that I have an income goal that I want to hit, right? And you should always try to push that income goal a little bit higher before you hit it. So you're always moving the goalpost so you don't become comfortable in your business. But in order to hit your target, so let's say that you have a target of making 10K per month or whatever, like a small amount. What are the main key levers that you need to push or pull every single day in order to get there? So you have a current desire, or you have a current situation rather, and you have a target where you want to get, where you want to go. The classic thing in copywriting and human psychology and just like reaching any type of goal, right? You have a goal, you are where you are. So there is a thread, there's a path for you to go from where you are to where you need to be. And the thing is that this is where focusing on just a few key, simple leverage tasks every single day is what will allow you to get there. But there is a thread, right? You pretty much already know from a day-to-day basis and from just like a perspective, like what you need to do to get to hit your target, to get where you need to go. The thing is that you are probably not doing it every single day consistently enough with volume. So I'll say it again. There is a path, there's a thread from your current situation to your target for your business or your life. You probably know the steps in order to get there. You're just not doing it. Why? Because there is a lot of distractions along this thread, along this line for you to get where you want to go. Because there's just so many different things that you can do, which are almost like pulling your attention away from the leveraged tasks that will take you there. For example, for any type of client acquisition business online, there are mainly just two things you really need to do every single day in order to get clients. One is outreach, and a lot of people will skip outreach because they don't like it, they hate it. But it's the most proven, the most unsexy, the number one thing which allows you to actually acquire clients is talking to prospects, to leads, actually talking to people, business owners who potentially can pay you money for your service, for your knowledge, for your skill, for your value, right? But people don't do it Number one is outreach. Number two, I would say, is content, which builds future leverage so you can reduce the amount of time you spend on outreach while increasing the amount of leverage you have on your time, right? So, for example, client acquisition, there's just two things you really need to do. So, everything else that you as a business owner is doing, which is not those two things, is essentially just wasted time, which you are spending on stuff that will not take you to your goal, right? So, those are the two things. Now, it may be that you do those things today, but it might be that you just do so little volume, which means that you need to increase the amount of volume, do the thing that you know will take you to your goal and target. So if you are not really doing the key leverage task you need to do, then that is where it starts. And that is why I don't believe that you need to sit and work for hours and hours and hours a day and grinding away in order to get to your goal. Because if you are championing that, hey, I spent like 12 hours today on my business behind my laptop, writing away, moving pixels, adjusting the logo, answering some emails, checking what your competitors are doing on Instagram. Great. You wasted pretty much, I would say, 11 hours of your day, 10 hours on bullshit, and not doing the single most thing you know drives results for your business, right? And I'm the same. I mean, I'm not a perfect human being for sure. So I've messed up on this a lot in the past. Like in the past, I really didn't like outreach. And to a point to this day, I don't like it any right now as well. But it's because I had a certain perspective or belief regarding outreach. Like it felt like almost like you are, walking up to a stranger on the street or, that girl, and you're just like striking up a conversation, right? They are strangers to begin with, right? But there is where there needs to be a mindset shift needs to happen for this to be, you actually have value, you actually have something that you can help people with. Super important mindset shift. But that's a little bit beyond this point of this video. I can talk about that in another topic, in another video, if that is interesting for anyone. Just leave a comment below. But yeah, focusing on the key move levering tasks in order to get to your target and your goals. So, what is that for your business? If it's client acquisition, as I said, it's outreach, it's content. If it's for actually turning the traffic you already get, the attention, to sales, then that is a sales process, a conversion process. That's mainly the things that I help my clients with because I'm a copywriter and a marketing strategist in that's what I do. So a lot of people might be really good at getting traffic. They're getting the conversations and they're getting inbound, or they're going outbound, and they stripe up conversations, right? But from there needs to be a sales process for people to actually be convinced that the thing that you have is a good offer, it's good value, and strike on the human psychology elements that gets people to move, to get people to act, to get people to sign up for your stuff or from buy from you. You're right. So there's a sales process that needs to be in place, and I think sales process is probably the number one weakest spot for most business owners. It doesn't matter if you are online or if you're offline. It's the same thing. It's probably a crappy website. It's an outdated website. It's probably some kind of landing page which is all over the place. It's jumbled. You have too many offers. It's not really clear who you're speaking to, who the target market is, what you're selling to them, why they should pick you over anyone else in the business. What's the benefit for them? Stuff like that. I believe that if most businesses just focused on those two things, essentially the traffic component, the attention, the getting the conversations, and getting in touch with uh, the target market or the people who will gladly pay you for your service, for your time, for your knowledge, and then getting them through a conversation or a conversion process, a sales process in order to convey the value you have so that they are happy to pay you for what you have. Those are really the only two things that needs to happen for any online business and offline business. And that's pretty much what I help people with. If you are someone who's watching this video and you're like, oh, Chris, I'm not really pulling the key leverage task, my sales process is a mess, then you will find a work with me link below. Hit that. Let's talk and see if I can help. But yeah, the 80-20 Pareto principle has been so helpful for me in my life. And it's just scrutinizing what you're doing and just reflecting and having the perspective. Hey, I'm running this business. Am I actually doing the things that will get me to where I want to go, the target? Hey, I'm very busy every day, but how come that I'm making so little progress in my business? What is the 20% of stuff you need to do in order to get to your target, get to your goal? Is it a better marketing strategy? Is it a better business model? Is it better content? Is it even content? Can you just do outreach instead and just talk directly to business owners who will gladly pay you for your skill or service or knowledge, right? How are you conveying that value? Are you even conveying that value? Okay, so what is the 20% of things that 80% of people, the reason they buy from you, right? For example, I have a local client in my vicinity. It's a hair salon, right? Nothing special, but this guy is really good, right? The number one thing that he's really, really good at is hair coloring. Not barbering, but hair coloring. Like he's a real master, right? And that's where most of his money and revenue comes from as well. So we just created a marketing strategy where we aligned his entire brand and identity around hair coloring instead of just being a hair salon. And that skyrocketed his sale, and he's fully booked out. From before meeting me, he was empty in the calendar. He didn't have any bookings, whatever. Nobody knew he existed, right? So it was the marketing strategy. It was identifying the key levers we need to pull on in order to, one, get attention to him, but two, what he can get paid for. Like, what is his thing? What is his offer? And it's the same thing I see for online businesses as well as offline business, the same thing. So if you become really good at doing the 80-20 Pareto principle on your life, on your business, on your copy, on your sales process, on your traffic, then one, you can spend less time working on needless things that doesn't really do anything for you. And two, you get a massive ROI, which is how it is. All right. I hope this video was helpful. Again, if you need my help, if you want to work with me, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, hit me up. You will find the link below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.